That would help, wouldn't it? There's a special button there for that. The mics were not turned on. Yeah.
Look, it wouldn't be us if we came on perfectly, would it? You've always got to have something that's kind of just not right, and
And I was only having a bitch anyway because I was saying my bloody husband came on and did a live all by himself. I don't think he realised that when he went on StreamYard and he did a test and went live, that he was actually streaming to the whole of our YouTube, all 7,500 of you. So,
wow.
yes. Yeah, sound does help, doesn't it? So thank you to all those people who sat with me for the 45 minutes while I rambled on trying to get the internet sorted for tonight. I hope we've got good sound and a good picture. Apparently the picture glitches every now and then, but the sound is good. Roman's been working very hard at getting us online. Yep, sound does help. Hey, now let us know in the world where you are watching from. Always like to know, and I'll put the comments onto the stage because I know you guys all like that.
Do they get special gifts or something for commenting?
Apparently they get little crowns and things depending on how many comments they've made.
Oh, well, chuck lots of comments in. Please do us a favour and share this with some other
poor soul.
Poor soul, someone you don't know, someone you hate. I don't know. Send it through.
Bargetto, or otherwise known as Bargo, North Queensland. My house in the middle of the street. My house in the middle of the street. I was going to get my ukulele out and sing for you all tonight because there's a cue for a tune.
All right, okay.
Partway through. Yeah. Oh, there, Plymouth. Hello, Erin. How are you? How's Dave? How you all going? Oh, we had such a good time.
I did put up some the UK time and the
I forgot to
US time.
Thank you. I forgot all about that. We will improve. We are slowly and surely improving. I said Renata looks younger tonight. I don't know what's going on. She looks younger.
It's the amount of cheesecake I had.
Celebration cake.
Or as Belinda said, it's cheers cake.
Cheers cake. I like that.
Cheers cake. So I'll take that.
I'm going to pop this down here. And I'm just going to make that full screen down here so that we can get on with our story tonight. Now, have any of you heard of the baby train and the rumours associated with it? Hi, Renee. Welcome, welcome. So tonight is the True Hauntings, Untold Stories. So, Renata, would you like to kick us off?
Well, welcome, everyone. And we are sharing tonight another strange and unsettling story from the True Hauntings Untold Stories archive. And if you are here for the very first time, I'm Renata.
And I'm Anne. And this one is going to take you for a ride, literally.
So this is one of those great urban legends or myths. We think there's always some sort of moment there where there has to be a little bit of truth somewhere, because it has had to start some way. This rumor has had to start in some way. But tonight we're talking about an urban legend called the baby train. And sort of before you kind of roll your eyes in the back of your head and go, this must be one of those old wives' tales, it could well be.
No, we only roll our eyes when we say orbs.
But some people swear that it is very much more than just a joke. So versions of this story have popped up all around the world, from the US to Germany, and even right here in rural Australia.
Like rural
Australia. That means out bush way,
or
away from the coast. Everything 20k in from the coast is called rural Australia. Now, this version that we are diving into tonight is rumoured to have originated in a small town that is going to remain unnamed.
Anonymous.
Just outside of Melbourne in the 1950s.
Oh, I wasn't born in the 1950s.
No, neither was I, thank God.
I fill in her passport details. I know exactly when her birthday is.
Oh, yes, I was. Oh, sorry. So the story goes, let's just move on.
Yeah, okay.
Let's move on. So the
I
story
can't talk about birthdays.
The story goes, every morning at 5:45 a.m., a freight train would roll past this quiet little town, which will remain anonymous. The whistle was so loud that it would jolt people awake. And without much to do at that hour, especially in the days before mobile phones
No
and
doom
streaming
scrolling.
services,
No doom scrolling whatsoever.
couples would find other ways to pass the time. I myself would just roll over and go to sleep.
I don't know what they'd be doing. I've got no idea. What do you think they would be doing if they got woken up that early in the morning?
Go to sleep. Roll over and go to sleep.
Yeah. I know what would be happening. Do you need a massage?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
So what happened was that there was a sudden baby boom.
Of course there was.
And statistically above average birth rates started to happen, and hospital records showed an unexpected spike in births about 9 months later. All very innocent.
It was.
Or was it? So, and curious journalists and sociologists looked into it as they do for a good story.
They would have made the front page. They would have got a grant.
They found that locals rarely did credit the train for waking the mood. And some even referred to it as the Morning Fertility Express. So I would have called it the Morning Glory Train.
Morning Glory Train. Of course, that would have been far more.
That's right.
Better.
Yes, absolutely. That would have made what's that show? Oh, Current Affair. That would have made a Current Affair.
With Tracy Grimshaw.
Tracy, she's no longer there.
Oh, isn't she?
No, oh, is she? I don't know.
I don't know.
Let us know.
She's still there, people.
She's still there.
Oh,
no lie. There was even talk in the local council minutes of possibly delaying the train to a later time because they were worried about population control. Imagine that being the cause of your town's overcrowded kindergarten. But here's where it gets weird because the story doesn't stop in Australia.
It's got to be weird, otherwise we don't look at it.
It started showing up in newspapers and folklore collections in multiple countries like Germany, England, and the Midwest of the USA, all with similar details.
You're copping it as well.
Now, I wonder, did it start around the same time? Did it start around the same time as the other stories? Or were the stories at different times, different spans, year spans?
Yeah, so same decade or whatever it is. I can see the computer now with these glasses.
Yeah. So some believe it's just a folk tale that grew legs. Others claim it points to something more universal, that perhaps in these quiet moments when humans are unexpectedly disturbed, something might be watching or influence what they are doing.
So you're going to blame it on the fairy? Oh no! Don't say that word.
Do you want me to pour this cup over your head in?
I can't do that to Roman after he's set up the internet and tried so hard. Anyway, you are setting them up very nicely for me, Renata.
Thank you so much. Go right ahead.
Buckle up, folks, because now we're going to get into some really strange phenomena.
Do.
Little bit more gusto next time. All right, now you may think this is just a sort of a cheeky bedtime story, and it's around that time about bored couples with nothing else to do. But let's take a look at what else has been reported in these so-called baby train towns. In several of these areas, especially the Australian and the German examples.
Oh, bloody Germans.
Bloody Germans. Entschuldigung.
They got no sense of humour.
Very German.
Except for their porn. Even their porn has no sense of humour.
Really?
I don't know. I've been told.
What's the job you used to have when you
I worked in a photography lab.
No, there was another job you had as well.
Oh, what?
Tell me you had like a Tupperware party.
Oh, yeah. We won't go into that tonight.
Was it Tupperware?
It was another plastic type. So, yeah, anyway.
Let's go back to the Australian and the German examples of the baby train. So residents started to report hearing train whistles on the morning when no train was scheduled. There was no train on the track, no vibration, nothing on the station log. But locals describe the sound as a metallic, distant, and echoing, always the same time. Some called it the ghost train, and it wasn't just the sound. Witnesses also started to claim to see faint lights like lanterns or headlights moving across fields or down unused tracks. But when they went to investigate, there was nothing there. No footprints, no tyre marks, and the lights just disappeared. So, of course, we got the people that come out with their digital recorders and start trying to do EVPs. And in one of the German towns,
Yeah.
they've reportedly picked up what sounded like babies crying, layered underneath the sound of the whistle. Now, no one was near the recorder. The building was locked up, but they've caught the sound of the train whistle with what sounds like babies crying underneath it. Here's the kicker. One couple claimed to have heard the phantom whistle one morning and went outside to find children's handprints on the back window of their car. Now, that wouldn't be unusual, except they didn't have kids. What the hell is going on? Now, whether it's pareidolia, people are hearing something and attributing it to what the legend is, or is it a shared dream? Because we've had sort of reports of that, where people all have the same dream at the same time. Or is it just they've had a coffee that's a little bit strong in the morning? Don't know, but it seemed to keep happening.
Maybe they've had some mushroom soup.
Too soon? Soon? All right. And add now to that a weird trend in which a babies born in those phantom train booms were said to be a little bit different, special. Some were gifted, others had a high sensitivity to sound or sleepwalking issues. Again, anecdotal, but too consistent to ignore that it was happening. Now, we have an eyewitness story of somebody who would like to remain anonymous, and she's been asked to be called Maddie, but I'll just read you out this little story. In the 1990s, I lived in a tiny town near Wagga Wagga. We like to repeat our names, don't we? Huey.
Yeah. Hurry, curry.
Every morning around 5:30, my husband and I would be woken up by what sounded like a freight train. But our nearest tracks were miles away and hadn't been used for years. One morning, I woke up before the whistle and I saw a glow moving across the paddock. It looked like a lantern swaying slowly. Then the whistle blew. Does that mean she had sex straight away? The whistle blows, they have sex. That's what the...
Keep going.
But this time it echoed inside the house. Now, at the time, she was pregnant.
No, she was pregnant 3 weeks later.
3 weeks later, sorry. She was pregnant 3 weeks later. It was a whistle. I told you they'd had sex. Anyway, sorry. My doctor said it was impossible because they'd been trying for 6 years to fall pregnant. And he now jokes that the baby was delivered by train.
All right. So we've done with all of those mythological folklore stories.
Yeah. Legends.
Yeah, let's get into the skeptical side of things and let's start to debunk stuff. So what do you think's going on, guys? What's going on? Have you heard of these sort of ghost stories where people will hear a phantom train going past? I certainly have. We have some tunnels here in Australia as well, where people will hear trains or see the lights of a train coming through them, but the train never seems to go all the way through. So they see it at a distance.
Yeah, a gorgeous lady from Randwick Council actually had an experience in the Picton mushroom tunnels, where she was there, I think, on council business and was standing at the end of the tunnel, and they heard the train coming through the tunnel towards them and getting closer and closer to the point that they ran because they thought they were going to get hit by something.
Wow. Wow.
She is absolutely adamant that happened. Some of you may be aware of the Picton Tunnel. That was it. That's right, Catherine. That's the train whistle blowing makes a sleepy noise. Underneath the blankets are all the boys and girls. You know,
Girls and boys.
whatever. Rock,
Oh,
rolling, riding
disturbing now.
along the place. Not as bad as calling us Renata and Anne. That really disturbed people. Anyway, that was the who sang those?
The
Seekers.
yes.
Seekers. Yeah.
Yes.
And the other fertility things I've heard is people sitting on a chair. There is a certain chair in the office that people sit on, and there'd be a rash of people falling pregnant if they sat on that chair.
It'd be a miracle in this house, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's well and truly dried up. Anyway, is this the opposite of the gravy train? Instead of bringing money, it brings something that will take up all of your money. You're not wrong. Right. So, is it a myth? Is it something that's cooked up by the local people? I don't know, possibly. But when so many locations have very similar reports, phantom whistles, mysterious lights, increased fertility, you've got to wonder if something else is at play. It could be even alien.
Alien. We need aliens.
Aliens aren't going to come here. Oh, they're going to take one
They're
look at what's
already
happened
here,
and go,
and they're
yeah.
already
Oh,
here.
yeah, absolutely. I
They
totally
go to
believe.
they go to Kmart at Glendale at about 9 o'clock every night. So hypnagogic hallucinations can be a thing, that weird moment between sleep and wakefulness.
And that's where you often will get that old hag syndrome where you feel like somebody's sitting on your chest and you can't move.
Look, put your hand up virtually if you've had that experience where you're actually still in a dream state, but the sound that you hear is so real that it actually makes you wake up and you go, what the hell? So sometimes you'll hear your name, or sometimes you'll hear some other sound or someone else speaking, and it snaps you out of sleep and you go, what the hell?
I heard a car crash out the front of our house. And it was so loud. I heard the collision of the vehicles hitting. I heard the glass smashing, and I've sat bolt upright in bed and gone, there's an accident out the front. And Roman was sound asleep, and he sat up as well and gone, I didn't hear anything. I said, no, it was really loud. It was there. And at that stage, we had a veranda upstairs and a 2-story terrace, and we went out and there was nothing. Absolutely nothing there. I don't know what I heard.
So Renee has said yes. Maddie has said yes.
Yep.
Julie said she's had night terrors. Yeah. It absolutely does happen. It could also be mass suggestion. And what else could it be?
I'm all caught up in my stories now.
Infrasound?
Yeah, it could be infrasound, low frequency sound waves caused by machinery, railways, even the wind. You think of the ka-chung, ka-chung, ka-chung on the tracks, it could be that.
Now, we were called many, many years ago to a small place that was being leased out by a rental company here in Newcastle. This was at Mayfield. And we walked to the back of the property, and they were saying that they were getting really weird things and sensations in the house. Pardon me. We couldn't get into the house. We looked through the windows, and it did look a little bit creepy. It was this tiny little place.
Renata.
But at the back of the house were the railway tracks. And what do railway tracks produce? Infrasound. And so that house was actually really being affected by the infrasound of the railway tracks that were running behind it.
And it can actually cause like the feeling of unease and sometimes to the point of hallucinations.
Now, we did talk about mass suggestion.
Yep.
And that some people say that they hear a ghost train. So, of course, everybody else has to hear a ghost train because, you know, you can't not hear it, because that wouldn't make it special.
Yeah. But what, all the phantom pregnancies?
That's just weird.
And the railway whistles and
Yeah,
Mm,
that's weird. Got no explanation for that other than kind of slightly mass hysteria.
maybe.
Mm.
I do remember your face on Tuesday night when we were on 2HD 2SM radio show just after the 9 o'clock news every Tuesday. Um, when our gorgeous host Sherilyn said something about all the moans and the groans, and I've said, yes, I hear that sometimes from my husband at night in bed. And your face has snapped round at me because we're not allowed to talk like that on proper radio. And she's gone, you what? I said, yeah, he has night terrors. You could almost feel like you were going to reach out and strangle me.
Mm.
Uh, right. So,
Yes.
all right. So, what do you guys think that is going on? What do you think is causing all of this? Mind's vibration, sound. Yes, if there's any sort of mining going on underneath.
Mm.
Oh, Patricia, hello. I used to live next to railway tracks. Yeah. It's not good when they start blowing their whistle at 2 a.m. in the morning, though. Renee lives near railway tracks. I feel the vibrations throughout the night and almost shaking my 90-year-old house.
Wow.
Uh, I get woken up by someone calling my name. It's all right, Melanie. I speak because Renata types like this all the time. Outside the window or knocking on the front door. It's loud and it's never in my dream.
Yeah, it does. It does feel really real.
Hello, Neurophoenix. How you doing? We're talking about baby trains. All right.
Um,
And look, the next question was, do any of you live near a railway and do you get that creepy early morning feeling? Hello. No. All right. All right, keep going, Renata.
maybe your town has had some sort of a mysterious baby boom. That would have to be a lot of information to
Oh, yeah,
know.
there was a chair at school that people would sit on and they'd say you'd get pregnant, and I did.
At
Mind you, I was
school,
trying to have a baby.
at school,
I did not get pregnant at school when I was working as a school teacher.
right?
I should classify that,
Yeah, you
shouldn't I?
should.
Give you a little bit more information.
Mm.
Well, I mean, the thing is, we don't really know what's going on. I would personally think that it's probably just a coincidence, and everybody has been drawn to the idea that, uh, that it's an urban legend that everyone has addressed.
I've got a theory.
I do believe, though, that the whistle in the 1950s was waking people up and they were getting horny because they had nothing else to do. I do believe they had a baby boom from that, totally.
I think it's more something to do with the collective unconscious, because if everyone was thinking and talking about it, just think of the energy of a group, a mass of people talking, thinking about the same thing.
Mm.
And if people were really wanting to have children at that point in time, then it would be just something that the collective unconscious in that space literally created this kind of, you know, vibration, for a better word, or whatever it was that made everyone actually get pregnant. It was like one of those things where you go, well, if I believe in this, then I'll fall pregnant because I really want to fall pregnant. And the mind has got a lot to do with that,
Oh, yeah,
because your mind will
absolutely.
either stop you from having something happen or cause you to have something happen. So I reckon it was a little bit of the collective stuff, that thought process of all of those people in that township going, yeah, I'm just going to believe that I can get pregnant, and bammo, it happens.
I know that when I was pregnant with Hannah, and in between Alex and Hannah, I had a miscarriage. And so you spend the next pregnancy being really worried that you might have a miscarriage.
Mm.
And I got to 40 weeks pregnant. There was still no sign of the baby coming. 41 weeks pregnant, still no sign of the baby coming. At 41 and a half weeks, 12 days overdue, I've sat down at the front and I've said to myself, it's okay. The baby is safe now. I can let go. I don't have to hold the baby in anymore. It is safe for them to come out. And I had her within 12 hours.
Mm. Yeah.
So that's really I do believe that your mind has a lot to do with it.
Absolutely.
And I like there's even cats and dogs will not have their puppies and kittens until they found a safe place to have them and they feel secure, and then they will have them.
Mm.
Oh yeah, the house I grew up in, hi Julie, has a railway road behind it. After I moved out, I could still hear the train at night.
Yeah.
It's a sort of comforting sound, isn't it? Hmm.
Well, it's one of those things that happens in a timely manner all the time. So it's one of those things you can count on.
Yeah.
So it makes you feel safe and secure. Anything that is a pattern, and we are always looking for patterns as human beings. And if it helps us feel safe and secure, we will sort of turn that into a positive rather than a negative.
Hmm. All right. Well, that was the end of the ghost train, the baby train.
Mhm.
Renata, hello, Joanne, has something else up her saying
Yeah.
that she found on the interwebs. Would you like me to pop that up and share it?
Yeah. Yes,
Right, I'm
please.
going to add that to the stage. There we go. Now I've just got to find where the original was. So I hope I still got it there. Yeah, there it is.
Pardon me.
Just pop that down here and make that a little bit bigger so that we can see what's happening.
So
There we
maybe some of you actually saw this on your feed today at some point in time. And what drew me to this was not necessarily the picture itself, but the comments that came up. And this says, have you experienced the paranormal? And it is a picture of the two actors that have been featured in the Conjuring movies that play the Warrens.
One of them's out of a job
Yeah, I
after,
know.
after this movie.
I know.
So this is, have you experienced the paranormal? Leave your story in the comments and the Warrens may contact you for further details.
Which will be very hard because they're both dead.
Well, the first comment is, well, if the real Warrens actually contacted me, then that will be the paranormal experience.
Well, let's go through some of these, what do you call them?
Comments.
Yes, let's go through some of these comments because I found them absolutely fascinating. So Tom says, when I was 4, I saw a disembodied hand crawl up my bed. I never told a soul, but 40 years later, I walked in on a conversation between my sister and aunt, and my sister said she had the same thing happen. She saw the same thing. That's creepy.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
I don't think I'd like that.
10 years ago, says Bambi. Oh, beautiful name, Bambi. I was in my kitchen and the stove and cupboard started shaking, not an earthquake. And sometimes when I'd get home, the cupboards would all be open.
I'm just going to drag this up to the top to
Wow.
make it a little bit easier for us to read. It's still there underneath. Actually, what I might do is take the other one down here because I have 2 screens now, so it just makes life much easier, and I can keep an eye on the comments that way too.
All right, well, let's go down to Amanda Nicole Cunningham, who says, when I was first married, I woke up to my husband standing at the end of my bed. Oh, he was working in Wisconsin and I was home in Illinois. He disappeared into the curtain before my eyes. See, these stories are creepier than all of the stories that can be made up on YouTube. That's scary. That's scary.
Would you like me to read the next?
Yeah, go for Tiffany.
My first paranormal encounter was there's this restaurant called the Yellow Big House in California. I forgot exactly where in California. I went to use the restroom. I was about 8 years old at the time. And when I went in there was nobody in there. Then all the bathroom doors were open and closing, and toilet paper was unrolling itself in the stalls as well. And the place is haunted too. So I wasn't the only one that experienced paranormal stuff in that restaurant. I bet she got in so much trouble for making a mess too.
Wow.
And she'd be going, it's the ghost, it's the ghost. They're going, no, it's not. You're just a very naughty girl.
So Brandon then says, I've had paranormal experiences since childhood. It started with a shadow figure that would slam doors and recurring nightmares. About 10 years ago, we moved into a home, and within the first week, I saw a shadow that moved from one wall to another, like the nun in The Conjuring 2. Each of my friends then stayed over, had experiences, including one friend that saw a shadow lean over him, watching him sleep. Ugh. I've learned that the paranormal is just a part of my life and have embraced it with paranormal investigating. I've also gotten much better at protecting my home from any negative entities. You can ask any of my good friends and they will probably have an experience to share with you based on their time with me.
Oh, because they're special.
They're special.
They're very special. Matt, late one night, I was getting some bits and pieces out of the storage of my moped. That's their motorbike, little motorbike, which was parked on the street. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw an old woman in a purple raincoat. Renata!
I get around.
I used to have a purple raincoat until she burnt her bum and burnt the coat. God, you were lucky you didn't actually get burns from that.
Oh, that was such a good coat too.
Your face. Purple Rain says, walking behind me. I didn't turn around and heard her say, "Can you help me?" in a very eerie voice.
No, go away.
Can you help me? I ran back indoors, and when I looked out of the window, she'd. Oh,
No.
you get a
get-
big one.
Yes, I get Josh. A few times, he says, when I was a toddler, my estranged father got me a life-size stuffed pink panther. I recall clearly seeing it on the toilet and waving at me. Oh dear. Also, even though wood flooring in my room, the dresser, toy box, and bed were pushed into the middle of the room. I'm reading. A toddler would not have been able to do that. Yes, that is true. Also, in that duplex, my mum's keys would often be moved to under the floor grate for the heater. The vent was behind the couch and not easily accessible. Several years later, I was about 14 at my mum and stepdad's house. Whenever I turned on MTV, a figure would appear on the stairs and headbang. Oh my gosh. I don't know why, but I knew his name was Frank. Then in my first apartment with my now ex-wife, I was leaving the apartment and turned to close the door to lock it. A female, all in white, charged me from the back room down the hall to the door.
Oh, that'd be
The
terrifying.
force knocked me down, and to this day, I'll never look behind me before shutting the door. Several years later, with my now wife, on multiple occasions, a single shirt would be pulled off the hanger and laid outside the closet. The shirts that would appear were from the back of the closet.
Ooh.
Not the easily accessible shirts, the ones behind the wall. And lastly, over the last several months, we had caught orbs and figures on one of our ring cameras.
See, I roll my eyes at orbs.
We'll gladly share
I
those.
don't share the ring camera orbs. The ring cameras are not great for filming that sort of stuff. We do have something really interesting here from Yindamara. I was in my sister's house, woke to a young teen boy next to me. I froze, told my sister the next morning, and turned out that the past owner's teen son unalived himself in that room.
Oh, wow.
That's
Oh,
wow.
Yindi, that's scary.
And we've got Patricia. My brother's widow woke to the sound of boots coming through the front door after he died. They came through the kitchen and dining room, stopped by my nephew's room, and then continued to her bed.
Oh, wow.
That's like a crisis apparition, isn't it?
Mm.
All right, Jason, the week before I started high school, I was sitting on my bed having a free moment. I bet you were. To just do nothing. Out of nowhere, I felt a very strange sensation. What felt like a punch in my jaw by an invisible bear paw. Yes, it felt bigger than my hand and very furry, regardless that it was invisible.
Oh.
Being punched by a bear.
The only thing that I am now reminded of at this very moment in time are the bear claws that we got in America.
Yum. Sorry.
So the bear claws are like big donuts. Yeah.
It's a glazed donut, but they've been cut.
They're like a bear claw.
So I think sometimes there's apple in them.
They're as big as they're as big as my hand.
Mm. Any of you guys had a bear claw?
And we could shove the whole lot in our mouth and eat it all.
Don't
They were good.
Don't pause, Renata. You can shove the whole lot
In our mouths.
in her mouth.
Uh,
What are we up to?
okay, we are up to
Nico.
Nico. I bought a rusty old helmet that had been found near the battlefield in Stalingrad a few years ago. Oh, I got goosies by saying that.
My hands are here.
Hello, Zelda. Ever since I got it, there have been shadows in empty rooms, lights flickering, and odd sounds at night. Yes, be careful what you buy online, and be careful what you buy that you may think is a really great item to hold on to that could be a memento of some sort, because you never know what is attached to that.
It's true. True. The cinnamon nom nom. Nom 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 nom. My husband didn't know what nom nom was.
That's okay. Did you inform him? Did you teach him?
I did.
Good. Isabel.
Isabel, is this me?
Yep.
I have lived with visions since I was a child. Yes, I have had very bad encounters, but also a lot of good ones. One of the bad ones, my ex brought a friend home to have a beer after work, living or dead. I took one look at him and told my ex I wanted him to leave because I saw evil in his eyes, his aura. My ex laughed at me, telling me I was cry. I opened the newspaper a few weeks later, and his picture was next to an article about a young couple slain in a devil ritual. Could have been us if I didn't have these visions.
Mm.
You just
Well,
don't know,
Isabel?
do you?
No. Let's see.
I have two cats. What do you think? Hang on.
Damien, spelled Daymien. Love it, Damien. There, my brother and my mum were sitting on the couch, and we heard somebody say from the other room, "Hello," and it was caught on video. And no one else was in the house, and no TVs were on. Very good.
Ooh.
Good.
Yinjimara has to add, see, this is why when someone gives me artifacts, I smoke it. You roll it up in a joint. Get the attached spirits off, as it's bad luck to have them.
Oh, right, that type of smoke. I get you.
I smoke them. You know us, we have to go there. So this is Evan. So I was playing hide and seek with my best buddies. Is that what they call it? For my birthday, and I went into the bathroom, and in the closet was a big, tall, black figure with red eyes and long nails. I didn't know what to do, so I ran to my mum and her ex-boyfriend, and she said, "Stuff has happened here before, but we've moved out since then."
Okay. It's lot of X's. You're noticing there's lots of X's. Mm.
All right, let's see if we can find another. The Warrens are dead. Yes, we know. That's what the joke was. That's why we thought it was funny. Ah, there we go. You can do Stephanie.
Stephanie, something has been following me for years across state lines in different houses. We have had 2 separate ghost teams investigate, 3 separate blessings performed through the church, and still no sign of it stopping. Well, stop it, Stephanie. Doors slamming, kitchen cabinets opening, closing, books have flown off the shelf. Help is appreciated. Oh, well.
I'm wondering if Stephanie just hasn't heard the answer she wants to hear, which is why she's had to get so many teams in. Blessings aren't working.
But they're obviously following her.
Mm.
So it's attached to her. And
What
so,
is it?
so what they're doing is they're blessing the houses, but
Yeah.
they're not dealing with
Right.
her.
They're not getting the wall. Yeah.
They're
Whatever
not
it is.
dealing with her.
Yeah. Renee said here, my earliest paranormal memory was an auntie that used to sit on the end of my bed and chat away. When I described her to Dad, he told me she'd passed away a couple of years before I was born. Oh, that's lovely that she'd keep an eye on you. I really like that. Right, Scott, I did a reading for someone on land that's inhabited by Native American spirits. Tick that box. We need to have bingo cards. At the time, I wasn't aware that offerings should be done prior to any readings. I didn't know that either. So I did the reading for the individual, noting that 2 Native American spirits were a little ways away, watching. That night, I laid down on my back to sleep and felt a deep stab in my back, level with the heart chakra. That was for not paying the proper respect to the land and native spirits. I humbly apologized the next morning. Years later, I decided to undergo a spiritual cleansing. Turns out a spearhead had remained in my back. The person had to pry and pull it from me. And while being cleansed, it heated up until the removal. Wow.
So a real spearhead
It
or
sounded like
an ethereal
it'd have to be
spearhead?
ethereal, but I think you would notice a spearhead in your back. But I think they're saying they felt it there, but maybe that medium or the psychic picked up on that energetic field.
Hmm,
If they picked that up without being told that story,
that's
that
very
would be
interesting.
very interesting.
Mm.
I've given you a big one. Do
Genesis.
you want me to scroll up a little bit for you
Genesis.
so you can get a good?
Holy cow.
Yep.
All right, buckle up, people. We've got a big story.
Are you enjoying these?
I think they're
I
fascinating.
think they're really interesting.
A couple of years ago, we used to live in my grandma's house. My whole family would rotate living there, so that way we couldn't leave my grandma alone. I mean, it was a big house next to an abandoned church, and when it was our turn to live there every night before bed, I would never want to face the door, always the wall, even with the door shut. I always see a shadow just standing there, looming around my mum. There are no full stops here, people.
Well,
There are no full stops.
You just got to read it like that.
My mum would always say, always leave a night light on, never sleep in the dark. Imagine our light bill. Imagine our light bill. Then one night, my sister and her babies came into my room to sleep with me because they were scared of the same shadow. That night, with our lights on, they pulled my sister's feet, throwing her off the bed. She screamed and ran into the living room, waking everybody up. My other sister and I sat on the couch trying to comfort our sister because she was scared shitless. And on that couch, when everything was quiet for just a moment, me and my sister felt something on our shoulders, like if they were on top, sinking us down. They even left marks on us. Obviously, we yelled and jumped out of the couch, trying to shake the feeling. The next couple of nights, my three sisters and brother and a bunch of nephews and nieces and I slept in our mum's room for days. Eventually, it was a bit crowded. So we went back to our rooms and I still could not face that damn door. It was becoming an overwhelming feeling. I would even joke with my grandma that there are bodies buried underneath the house, since her whole home was filled with many types of plants and flowers and fruit trees. But she would laugh it off, even called her a vampire because she was always youthful looking, again, laughing it off.
Wow.
Wow.
I like it. Yinjimaro said you have the bifocal head position.
Yes.
See, these ones aren't the bifocals, because normally I have that position, but with these glasses I can see it properly. They're not quite as red as the other ones. Now, I had a few comments here. Renee said, oh no, we had that one. Yep. Yindamara said, I won't do a smoking ceremony anymore. Last time I had 8 panic attacks in one night and seen weird shit climbing the walls in my motel room. No more for me.
Oh, wow.
And Renee, I guess that's all. Paranormal stories can always be questionable once emotions are heightened. Very true. Sometimes logic goes out the door once you've had a fright. Dustin, I'm an investigator, so I've definitely had some interesting experiences. But the one that stuck with me the most was at the George Taylor house in Catasqua, PA. You can correct me on that. We were closing up for the night. I was checking the second floor. When I reached the landing, I immediately noticed a thickness in the air. I reached the second room, looked in, and there was an old lady sitting in the corner, staring right back at me. Usually when I see something, it's only seconds. This woman didn't vanish. She was just staring straight at me. Oh, the energy she was emitting was one of being done and wanting us to leave. It was also pretty dark, but I recall thinking she must have been pale because I could see her hands in her lap and her face very clearly. If I had to guess, she was in colonial garb, not an old Victorian dress. We do know most of the spirits in the house. This older woman is a mystery to us, but she has been seen by others too. Oh, you want to do Ravindu?
And Ricky, no, we're going to Ricky because we
Alright.
have done the Diplomat Hotel as one of our
The Philippines.
podcasts.
Right. I might have to. We might
Oh,
need to share this one, I think.
I think it's probably our last story too.
Oh, how are we going for time? It's only 46 minutes in. Hang on. We've just got some comments here. I've got to take that one down. Jessie said, I was living alone, and one night I had a dream that my bedroom door was flung open, and the lady next door came running into my bedroom, yelling at me, "Why didn't you help me?"
Oh,
The next day, an ambulance and a white van came, and it turns out the old lady had died the day before.
wow.
That is a crisis apparition, if ever there was one.
Jessie. Oh
Wow.
my gosh.
Oh, God, don't take that on as any guilt. You could not be held accountable for that. All right. Off you go, Renata.
Okay, Ricky. Ricky Gomez. Ever since I was young, I had a deep desire to visit the northern part of the Philippines, particularly Baguio. Baguio. Baguio.
But Bajuyo.
Uh,
Say it with confidence, Bajuyo.
because there was one place that seemed to draw me in, the Diplomat Hotel, an abandoned old vacation house of Dominican priests. We have done a podcast
True
on
Hauntings
this.
podcast.
To make the story
Awesome
short,
episode.
I finally got to visit at the age of 41, the so-called age of awakening, and I never expected the tremendous effect it would have on me. It was during a semester break when I went to this place that starts with the letter B, and I made sure to visit the hotel. I already had this strange feeling of nervousness, a sense that something life-changing was about to happen. As a biology college instructor, but I simply danced to the rhythm of events and pushed myself to go through with what I believed would open my eyes. I went there around 11:30 to 12 noon. There were many people. The four corners of the abandoned building were filled with visitors. I explored every part of the building's exterior since entrance was no longer allowed. It was midday, so was no eerie chill, but you could still feel the horror of the past, especially knowing that this former vacation house turned into a hotel was said to be the site of many deaths during World War II here in the Philippines. I stood alone in one corner, placed my hand on a window, and offered a prayer. I knew many had died there, and it felt only right to at least say a prayer. I left the place in awe. But the longer I stayed in that place, moving from one hotel reservation to another, I started to feel different. I got sick when I returned to Manila, but I still didn't think anything paranormal had followed me. I resorted to medication, and though it was effective, I still felt different. There's something weird. On the second night back in Manila, I had terrifying nightmares.
Sorry, I'm just going to scroll you up there. Oops, sorry, went too far.
I dreamt that I, along with some others from what seemed like a provincial setting, was kidnapped. We were tied up, bound, electrocuted, and drowned, tortured to death. I woke up at 2:30 a.m. feeling anxious and afraid. I couldn't seem to recover from this strange illness. Eventually, I decided to seek help from professional psychics. First, I went for an online consultation, and on the actual day of the session, as soon as the camera turned on, the psychic saw a pale man with a bloodied head standing behind me.
Ooh.
I was shocked, terrified, and overwhelmed for weeks. We eventually met in person after she invited me, but the spirit of the soldier was still following me. I tried to live normally. I had to keep working, continue with my teaching, even though I knew he was following me even at school. One day I had enough. I told myself I would find a way to deal with this, even if no one else could help. I chose not to ask anyone else. I decided to take matters into my own hands. You want to carry on?
Right, I'll just scroll up. All I did was pray for him. I had masses said for him at the Perpetual Help Church in Baclaran. I offered several masses. I tried to let him feel that he could move on, that he needed to accept that in his attempt to move forward, he might not get the justice he sought. He needed to cross over and forgive. I prayed to God continuously, and even my family joined me in prayer. I tried to lift him up spiritually. I could feel the grief he carried. I knew only God could truly help him. I prayed hard until I finally began to feel lighter. Later on, I was able to consult with other psychics and confirm that the spirit who had followed me from Baggio had already moved on in search of justice. Then I found out from a celebrity psychic that it was part of my mission, a tall order from above, to help lost souls. I don't see them, but I feel them, many times in different ways at different moments. I realized that I am clairsentient psychic. Eventually, I came to understand that even my psychic dreams since childhood had real significance. I had one particular dream since I was a child about a demonic entity, of course, that appeared and tried to kill me, and then showed up again when I was already an adult. I consulted another well known local psychic who told me I have light in my throat and that I have mediumistic ability, and that this demon, who occasionally makes itself known, will come back. Psychic I spoke with told me I alone can defeat this entity, and not even my spirit guide can help me. I am astounded and afraid at the same time. And now I know my ability. I also know I must prepare myself for this demon that is bent on destroying me. This is a true story.
Oh, good luck, Ricky. We hope that you find your way through that. Absolutely.
But I would just like to say that there is a certain responsibility of the people who have been sharing those stories with Ricky. You would hope that there is some truth in it and they just haven't made stuff up and then created an attachment for this person and a worry and a fear to be carrying around with them, waiting for this entity to attack them.
That's true.
That Diplomat Hotel at the Philippines is case 105. 105, if you want to listen to that on the True Hauntings podcast. So I'm going to pop down here, remove that, come back to our glorious faces. And I'll just get rid of that. And I'm going to take this up the top so we can see properly. That's better. This is the thing, Lisa. Do we know if the psychics are trustworthy? Celebrity psychics have a reputation to uphold. And if they're not getting some sort of message or something, and I know Renata's very honest and she'll go, I'm not getting anything. But I don't think a celebrity psychic could say that.
And they always seem to tell people how special they are.
Yep.
You know, you're so special. You're going to have a task for the rest of your life to do. You know, it's the same old where no one can have a spirit guide who was someone's cleaner in the house. They've all got to be Cleopatra or
Yeah.
Napoleon Bonaparte or someone.
Yeah, that's right. There's nobody just normal, is there? There's I don't know if you've heard of the clairs in Diamara. So you have different clairs represent different abilities. So clairsentient.
It's clear hearing, I believe.
Then you've got clairvoyant, which is seeing the future.
Sorry, that's clairaudient. Clairsentient is clear knowing.
Yeah, so
or I could be wrong with that as well.
Yeah, there's been a while since we looked at the clairs, but
I look at chocolate eclairs. That's the best clair for me.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, sorry.
Anyway, that brings us to the end of
Yes.
our True Hauntings, the Untold Stories. So we've given you a story, and we've also looked at some other people's true stories that is happening to them, and it's been quite a nice discussion. So thank you for joining in with us. I hope you've enjoyed the show.
If you have, please leave us a little message after we say goodbye, because that will still help the algorithm if you come on and just leave a message or two. And yes, we will be back on
pick a card,
Thursday. You don't pick a card, no.
Now, next Thursday, I don't know what's going to happen next Thursday because we will be starting our holiday for me to mourn the loss of my 50s before I hit a horrid number on Saturday week. So we'll see what the internet is like. I think it's meant to be a paranormal hot seat.
Oh,
So
that would be good.
Steve's here babysitting the animals. We can go live because we'll have Simeon and Graham and Roman. Maybe we can have a bit of a topic and get Steve online with us and maybe pick one of those topics. Remember we did some research and he came up
Mhm.
with some really good juicy
Juicy topics.
topics, which will stir the hornet's nest. And the other thing I just wanted to quickly say, that copying people is the sincerest form of flattery. We do seem to have a little bit of copying going on at the moment, don't we?
Oh, just a bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a bit.
Seems to be that we do something new and all of a sudden they're doing it straight away. Anyway, thank you so much for copying us because, we really like the fact that we're leading.
And happy birthday, Pete. Those two stories aren't connected, by the way. Happy birthday.
From happy birthday. We will challenge you, Jonathan, to the best team in New South Wales. Pete's allowed to have that on her big zero birthday.
Yeah.
Her big zero birthday is not as big as our. That's
No.
my.
God, she's still so young.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. I could be a
Yes.
mother. Almost.
Yes.
Yes.
Very young.
Anyway.
Anyway, that's it. Love is all.
Thank you all for staying up. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for adding your bits and pieces.
And was the video and the audio better? We've got to let Roman know to see if it was better than what it was last week. Thank you for all being here. If we don't do a live next week, then I will organise some sort of video to go up. Something will happen. And we will have a new True Hauntings podcast coming out on the 18th. Oh, Linda, thank you. And we'll see you on Saturday, Linda.
Yes, we're going to be at Lochinvar House. We might do a bit of a live.
We might. We might.
We might do a live while we're
Sometimes
doing
for
a
instance.
seance. How about that? How about we do a live
Yeah.
from seance, or
I can
a
bring
live
Nick here.
a live from the cellar.
From the cellar. I'll bring my camera set up and we can give it a crack. All right. Love you all. See you on the dark side.
Stay spooky.
Be frightfully good.
Don't be
A dickhead.
Bye.
Bye.